All right. Hello. Is this thing on? It's me. I'm so tired, as you could see in the, where is it? Here we go. Right there. That's what happens when you're up since 2 a.m. Things that happen. But listen, the gym needed opening. What am I going to do? Not be there? Let me open the chat. That's probably a really good idea. All right. Hello. It is me. It is Jake Hasan. Here with you, it is GameDay Garage, the show, and the U. College baseball weekend number 2. College baseball weekend 1 takeaways. Some MLB thoughts, and hopefully bets and comments from you, the people as well, because God, please don't make me do this on my own. That'd be really appreciated. You all know I could talk to myself, and I have plenty of thoughts. We are on the eve of a massive weekend in college baseball, which is going to be very fun, including, of course, and headlined by the game between, thank you for whoever's liking my tweet about this show being live right now. It's Crutch. What up? Anyway, number 7 TCU at number 1 UCLA. That is going to be the headliner. That is what we will talk about. Anyway, I'm Jake Hasan. You could follow me at the Jake Hasan on Twitter, at Hasan_Jake on Instagram if you'd like. I also have a little thing called the Substack if you want to subscribe to that. Thank you to Stan Panyanovich the other night. I was on Chicken Dinner. Represent. Apparently, when you go to the Substack, it shows that the site has been breached. It's probably why people can't sign up for paid subscriptions right now. But comb your hair. No, let me have the little things. Okay. I don't want to. And plus, if this show was well groomed and knew what it was doing, y'all wouldn't be here. You know what you're getting when you click into this show. This isn't news. Anyway, what was I saying? The Substack, hasanshacks.substack.com. Subscribe if you'd like. I'd really appreciate it. It's not a breached website. It won't give you a virus. I've used it a bunch because, I write and post content there. So that would be pretty tough. And I haven't gotten a virus that I know of. So far, so good. Thank you to the people who have subscribed already. There's over 100 of you. That's pretty awesome. But anyway, speaking of GameDay Garage right now and what we are here to talk about, again, please send comments. I'm so tired. Please help lubricate this show. Yes, I did just say lubricate. I will be using it again. You're just going to have to deal with it. Anyway, let's talk some ball. And as I mentioned, it is going to be headlined by number 7 TCU going to number 1 UCLA. And was tough. TCU takes a tough blow. This was late on, what's today, Thursday? This was late Tuesday night. And Tommy Lepore, the Friday night starter for the Horned Frogs, he goes down. He's going to miss this start. He's their ace, preseason All-American, preseason Big 12, and he's not going to be starting against the number 1 team in the country on the road against the number 1 overall prospect in the upcoming draft. You may have heard of him, a guy by the name of Rock Chalowski. I know White Sox fans are very, very familiar with his name. That being said, I think I'm going to bet TCU in every game because I'm not totally convinced that UCLA has the dogs pitching wise to also keep up with TCU. Like UCLA's biggest flex, as it were, is their offense, is the fact that they have the number 1 prospect in all of college baseball in the nation. The guy is probably going to go number 1 overall in the draft in 4 months or whatever it is. And that's their biggest thing. Now, not to say that they have no pitching whatsoever. They do. They're a good team. They're the number 1 overall team in the country. I'm not trying to take that away from them. But TCU is the number 7 team in the country. They didn't beat Vanderbilt, who was 20-something at the time. No, they were inside the top 20 last week. And now are number 23. Beat them on a neutral field. Then, here comes Arkansas, who was number 7 at the time. Beats them on a neutral field. This is going to be tougher. You're going on the road, but it's not like you're going to Chicago. It's not like you're going to a super cold weather stadium. You're going to Los Angeles. Who the hell is calling me right now? It's probably just the library. Honestly, that's the only number that really calls me. So we're going to send that to voicemail. I did. Go away. Thank you. This is what you get This is what you get with this show. Anyway, as I was saying, TCU goes to Los Angeles. Like, I don't think this is going to be a huge culture shock going from the Dome in Arlington. There's a joke there somewhere. My brain is not able to find it right now. To now Los Angeles. I think it's going to be fine. I think you're going to get TCU as a pretty big plus money. Like, we got them at plus 140 twice last weekend. And they cashed both of those against Vanderbilt and against Arkansas. I think now going to the number one overall team in the country, I think you're probably going to get significant plus money once again here. And have we all forgotten the fallen hero spot? Tommy Lepore, your ace, is out of this game. He's going to miss this start for sure. Fallen hero spot. You rally. The guys rally around. I mean, he's very much alive, but they rally around the corpse of Tommy Lepore. And they say, let's go win this one for this guy. Jersey in the dugout. Again, very much alive. But I like this for TCU. I'm going to be betting them in every single game. To be honest with you, the guy that's going to be starting for TCU, he's a 6'4", 220 lefty named Mason Brassfield. And he pitched pretty well against Arkansas last week in relief. One of 3 innings, struck out 6. I think that works out. And Friday night starter for UCLA last week, Logan Letterman, not to be confused with Logan Lerman, the lead actor of the very, very disappointing Percy Jackson movie from 18 years ago. Anyway, that's a joke for like probably one person in this chat, maybe 0, but it was fun for me. Anyway, Logan Letterman, the Friday night starter for UCLA, was very mediocre, aggressively mediocre against UC San Diego last week. Now here comes TCU, one of the best offenses in the nation. I think that this is going to be a wrong price, especially this early in the season. I think there's going to be books that just hang a number and they say, oh, the number one team hosting a team that's worse than them. Let's put them at minus 120. Let's put them at minus 130. Oh, they have the number one overall prospect in the draft. Let's make the number even larger. Oh, now TCU's missing their best pitcher. Let's make the number even larger. Let's get it to minus 150. I think there's going to be good hashtag value on TCU in every single game of this series. And I'm probably going to bet them in every single game of the series. And we're just going to roll with that. And I'm willing to be wrong. Even if only one game comes through out of those 3, and then you can all come in my mentions and say, oh, you're an idiot. Nice call on TCU. Moron. Cool. Whatever. Fine. You're an egg on Twitter. Anyway, as long as it's close, and even if they only win 1, I'm happy. You know, and we take all the CLV to feed ourselves. As far as who called me, and I think it was Larry, what books overdue? None of them. I'm very timely. And yes, it was the library. But I have books to be picked up. So that's cool because I have one that already needs to be returned and probably another that I'll finish tonight. So thank you. I'm a very good patron of the Chicago Public Library, Nick Ashew. Thank you very much. Anyway, as I was saying, to tie the knot on TCU and UCLA, I'm going TCU every single game, especially tomorrow night on national television, by the way. If you are unfamiliar with the glory that is college baseball, you have a great entry point next week, tomorrow. Again, I'm so tired. Anyway, tomorrow, not next week. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. I think I got all of those right. UCLA hosting TCU. If you're looking to become a college baseball fan, bet college baseball. If you just want to throw something down and have something to watch on a Friday night, here's your chance. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be electric. I'm very excited just as a fan. And I'm excited to bet this game too. Now, the other 2 games are going to be on Big Ten Plus, but listen, you can't win them all. You quite literally cannot win them all. For right now, getting this game on FS1, we take that. And we take that big time. Anyway, moving on. The rest of the weekend, honestly, is kind of awesome. We have another neutral site tournament in Arlington at the Texas Rangers field. I almost said facility. I guess it technically is a facility, right? But we get a bunch of ranked matchups in that one. And I'm also really intrigued, and this game is also tomorrow, it starts tomorrow, but Michigan is going to be going against a couple of big teams. They start with Florida State tomorrow, ranked team, number 17 in the country. But then they play against Louisville, who, I mean, those tickets that we had on them, 5-1 to go to Omaha, we might just have to really take those out because that team cannot pitch at all. And it's not great. But Louisville's still a ranked team, still with a lot of expectations. They could absolutely right the ship. But right now they're really looking like Virginia from last year. Anyway, my point being, Michigan had a really good weekend last weekend to start. I mean, they beat Oregon State, who was a top 15 team. They beat Arizona, who was number 24 at the time. And they lost in extras in a second game on Monday, a weird Monday game already this early in the season, to again Oregon State. So this Michigan team, I am really intrigued by. I don't think I'm going to bet them tomorrow against Florida State, but Saturday when they play Louisville, buddy, I liked Louisville a lot coming into this year. I still think they can right the ship. I still think they have a lot going for them. It is, for God's sake, February 19th. The season is nowhere near over. We are still 3+ months away from the tournament starting. But compared to the expectations, Louisville has not lived up to them thus far. So I like Michigan. I'm going to be betting Michigan on the money line on Saturday against Louisville. Again, this early, books are just looking at the rankings sort of and slapping a number up there. They're just looking at Louisville being the 15th ranked team and Michigan being unranked. And they're just saying, all right, Louisville minus 130. Slap it up there. Even though Michigan's 3-1, beat Oregon State, title contender, beat Arizona, going to be in the tournament, going to be a 3 seed in the tournament. All right, we'll just slap a number up there. And I think that's wrong. And the strength of this Michigan team, at least through one weekend, has been their pitching. And on the flip side of that, Louisville can't pitch at all. I'm shocked that the call I just got wasn't from the Louisville coaching staff saying, hey, you got any eligibility? I do, because I never played college sports because I'm incredibly unathletic. Except at golf. I'm decent at golf. Decent. I have not swung a club in, what is it, February 19th? 20th? No, 19th. I haven't swung a club in probably 4 months. But we're going to get back in the lab. It's all right. We've broken 80 before. That's not the point. I'm getting sidetracked. My brain is everywhere right now. But, and kickball. Yeah, that's true. You know what? My guy, at Brian Bobo Giles on Twitter, coming to my defense for a kickball championship that we're like 1-5 in championship games for. But listen, that's neither here nor there. We can get into the qualms of that as the new season approaches in like 2 months. And then we can relive the horrors that were last season. But I'm just saying, to close the loop on the Michigan thing, said close the loop twice, going to stop doing that immediately. Michigan just kind of has this, I don't know, they just have this vibe in neutral site games. Remember last year when they beat Virginia in the Puerto Rico tournament, and Virginia was the second overall team in the nation at the time? They missed the tournament. They ended up being a bad team, but still at the time, like, Michigan went in neutral site game, big pressure, and they just won the game. So I think they can win. I think they could keep it close against Florida State tomorrow. Honestly, I can't get there with the money line, and I don't have a good feel for the under. So I'll wait till Saturday and I'll just bet them against Louisville on Saturday afternoon. I believe that one is going to be another banger that we have. It includes another team that we have talked about going against the team that we just talked about. Auburn and Florida State on Saturday. Another top 25 matchup, and still in the neutral site, Dome of the Rangers. And I don't get a good feel for a particular side in this game, but what we saw last week at the Rangers Stadium was for teams that are pretty close to evenly matched. Think of TCU against Vanderbilt. Think of TCU versus Arkansas. Both games ended 5-4. I think with Auburn and Florida State, we're probably going to get a total that's double digits, probably 10, 11.5, maybe a 12.5. And I'm going to go the under. Auburn's offense can explode. So can Florida State's. But think of it this way. Florida State mercy ruled James Madison and Jackson State. Woohoo, guys. Way to go. Auburn was very up and down. They got shut out in one game against a no-name school, but then they also put up 10 runs and won by 7 in their other game. They're kind of hot and cold. I don't know exactly what they are yet. Still think Chris Rembert for Golden Spikes at a huge price could age very, very nicely for us. Still, hell, talking about Florida State, Miles Bailey, his number got cut to 50-1, got cut in half from 100-1. I still think that's too big of a number, especially considering this. We're going to get a little off track and talk a little Golden Spikes. We'll get back to Auburn and Florida State in 1 second. But Miles Bailey is a dude who I talked about for Golden Spikes last week during our stream of UCSB and Southern Miss. I've talked about it on the Substack. I've talked about it. I talked about it on Chicken Dinner earlier this week. Miles Bailey is a guy who can set the home run record set by Charlie Condon just a couple years ago. He is 6'7" and like 240 pounds. Look him up. He's the Hulk, basically. He touches the ball and it crosses state lines. So he was 100-1. That got cut in half last week after he had a mammoth home run over last weekend. Still 50-1, especially when you consider that Cameron Flukie for Coastal Carolina, their ace, he just went down and he's going to miss significant time. He's got a rib injury. Kenny Ishikawa, the two-way player at Georgia, who was 15-1 and like the 5th favorite for Golden Spikes the last time it was up, he plays for Georgia. Their manager announced today that he's got a hairline fracture. He's going to be out until at least conference play, if not longer, because their manager also said, oh, well, we're not going to rush it because he's too important. Oh, by the way, apparently unrelated, he woke up with the flu this morning. So now he's out. That's 2 big guys off the board for Golden Spikes. And if you don't think Rock Chalowski, the favorite, is going to go back-to-back, I certainly don't. That's 3 pretty big names off the board, which probably means Miles Bailey for Florida State, and hell, even Chris Rembert for Auburn at 150-1. The prices are probably a little bit wrong there. So just something to consider. Back to this game with Auburn and Florida State. Despite all of the hype that I just gave to Miles Bailey for being a very huge power threat, even in a big MLB stadium like the Rangers, I think that this game is going to be close. I think it's going to be a lot of small ball. I think you're going to see some balls die at the track because it is a major league stadium, even with metal bats. And so I think that this could be another 5-4 game, 6-5. So if you're getting under double digits, if you're getting under 11, 12.5, I like the under in that game. I think that's perfectly fine. And I'll be betting that in the Auburn and Florida State game on Saturday. Reminder, we've been here for, oh God, we've already been here for 20 minutes. God, I really know how to talk to myself. It's a talent that I'm sure has annoyed a lot of people over my life, but hey, got us this far and able to host a show by yourself and formerly known as also other shows that we won't have to mention here, RIP. But back to, the bets, the stuff that you came here for. I promise, this is not a homer bet because Illinois baseball is bad. They're 1-3. They're just okay. They've kind of fallen from grace. But I think we have a narrative play on Saturday. I thought somebody was calling me again. Anyway, it might have been the Louisville coaching staff asking if I could pitch. Anyway, that's a joke from like 5 minutes ago that probably most people didn't even laugh at the first time. I'm going to like Illinois at a huge, that's dangerously close to doing a Trump there, a huge price for Illinois on Saturday against Coastal Carolina, who I just mentioned. Because Coastal is a top 10 team in the country, a team that people still like and did like coming into the year to get back to the College World Series. Now we'll see what happens with this fluky stuff. Not adjective. Is that an adjective or an adverb? Adjective, right? Anyway, English class with Jake Hasan. The fluky stuff, he's going to miss at least this start this weekend. We'll see how much longer that goes. They're also going to be missing their number 2 starter, their preseason All-American, which shout out to my guy Crutch. He sent this to me earlier. saying that Coastal Carolina is also going to be without preseason All-America Dominic Carbone for the year. He was a big reason why people liked them coming into the year. So now with Coastal, I think that they'll be fine for the hashtag fallen hero spot on Friday. But then on Saturday, a little bit different story. Get up for the Friday game. Fluky's out. Our guy Dom is out. Big Dom is out to our number 2 starter. I think you run out of gas. I'm just saying, get up for the Fluky missed game, and then you kind of deflate a little on Saturday, especially because on Friday, Coastal plays VCU, who is 3-0, which, I mean, I don't expect VCU to be like crazy good. I think they'll get into the tournament, but I don't think they're like a super regional or Omaha contender. But the point being, all right, 3-0 VCU, we got to win this one for Cam. Let's get out there. And then Saturday, here's 1-3 Illinois. Oh, well, cupcake game. They haven't beaten anybody. They stink. And then you just win. Now, if you're have a little bit of trepidation, I guess, about the money line, and I think this money line with Illinois on Saturday against Coastal might be like 3-1. Like you see big, because again, like what I was saying earlier in the show, somebody's going to look at this game, not know that Dominic Carbone is not starting the Saturday game against Illinois, and is going to look at the record, look at the ranking, say, oh, the number 6 team in the nation going against a team that was 1-3 coming into the weekend. Okay, make them -700. Make Illinois 3-1 on the money line. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that this is a really good opportunity. If you're a little squeamish about taking the money line, and it's going to be a huge price on the money line with Illinois on Saturday against Coastal. Like if you're a little squeamish about that, fine. I totally get it. The run line will still probably be plus money. You'll probably still be able to get plus 2.5, maybe even 3 runs with Illinois, and maybe get plus money. You might get a good value play there. Hashtag value. So not a homer bet, but I think things kind of line up on Saturday for Illinois to pull off a massive, massive upset. This one's a little Jakey narrative. I'll admit it. Coming up on Saturday night, team that we talked about last week, they were part of our stream last week. We were hating on them last week during the stream. Southern Miss is going to host Oregon State. And Oregon State, they lost to Michigan, then had a real nail biter against Michigan. They had 2 walk-off wins last week. Oregon State, I was not impressed by their offense. Now, their pitching is amazing. Dax Whitney and Ethan Kleinschmidt are unbelievable. And they both were really good last week, too. But I think Oregon State is going to be on a mission to prove something this week against Southern Miss. And you all know, if you've been listening to anything that I've been saying in this show, in the stream last week, again on the Substack, hasanshacks.substack.com, by the way, wherever you've consumed my content, I think that I don't like the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, even if they are hosting this game. I'm going to like Oregon State. I'm going to like Oregon State on the run line. Ethan Kleinschmidt should be starting this game. Southern Miss cannot hit as it is. Look what happened when Southern Miss went against Jackson Flora, who was another elite talent on the mound in the first game of the year. And now Oregon State, I think, is going to be on a revenge tour here after they didn't get embarrassed, but there were some nail biters. They lost to Michigan. They had a couple extra inning wins. It was a little closer, I think, than they wanted it to be. For a team that has legitimate title aspirations, this is a good chance for Oregon State to go into a ranked matchup on the road and put, that wasn't a good clap, a little better, belt to ass and show, hey, we are still title contenders. I'm going to like Oregon State on the run line. That might be my favorite play of the weekend in weekend 2 of college baseball. My guy, Brian Bobo Giles, has a bet. Another Arlington game that I like. Speaking of homer games, we should get good money line value on Friday, Nebraska over Louisville. I do actually kind of agree with that. I want to see what the number opens up first. I want to see what we can get. I want to see how big of a favorite Louisville is. My man, I love you. I do kind of hope Louisville wins that game so we could get a better price on Michigan on Saturday. But Louisville, if they lose 2 of these games this weekend, like it is real panic button time. Like you're not hovering on the panic button. You're hitting that bitch. So let me make sure I didn't mute myself. I didn't. Good job, Jake. Louisville, I know it's early. I know I started the show by saying it's early for them, but they're in perilous waters here going forward. And if they lose 2 of these games, it's not going to be great for the Louisville Cardinals. Yeah, right. Anyway, anybody else has any bets, any thoughts, anything you'd just like to ask, get off your chest, whatever. It's Thursday. God, it's only Thursday. I have to go to a gala tomorrow. Not have to. I signed up to go, and it's for a good cause. Alzheimer's Association. It's going to be pretty fun. Not the gala will be, not the concept of Alzheimer's, obviously. So I'm excited for that. God, I can't wait to go to sleep after this. I'm going right to bed. Anyway, any bets, anything that you got, if you're still here, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you watching the second iteration of GameDay Garage, the show and the U. I did have a couple of Major League Baseball thoughts while you guys get your thoughts together and your bets together, and you could send them in the chat, or you could tweet them at me at the Jake Hasan on Twitter. And I also tweeted the link there. But I was looking through some Major League Baseball bets, and I kind of have a sicko bet that I stumbled upon. And Colby Marcio, if you're here, I'm sure you'll have some thoughts on this. Does anyone want to bet the St. Louis Cardinals at 28-1 to have the worst record in baseball? Like the Rockies are a minus 400 price to have the worst record in baseball, as they should. They're awful and going nowhere once again. But then it's like the White Sox at 6-1. I think that's way wrong, because I think the White Sox are going to win 70 games at least this year. And then it's the Angels and the Nationals, which, yeah, I get, also terrible teams. But, you know, let's make the case for the Angels. What if Mike Trout stays healthy? What if this weird experiment with Kurt Suzuki works? Maybe he rallies the guys. I'm not saying the Angels have to be good, but what if they win 65 games, 60 games? The thing is, I think that the Cardinals have real bottom out potential here. Like, they just traded Brendan Donovan away, their best player. They traded away Nolan Arenado. Like, they're not trying to win anything. They're going to call up a bunch of young prospects, headlined by J.J. Weatherholt, who's going to probably play second base and is the second favorite for National League Rookie of the Year, as he should be. Like, at 28-1, that catches my eye, because just listen to this roster. And it's going to take me a second to pull it up, and I'm going to filibuster for a second. But thankfully, I almost always have Fangraphs open anyway, because I'm a sicko, as most of you know. But listen to this Cardinals lineup. Lars Nootbaar leading off. Ivan Herrera, Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman, Mason Wynn, J.J. Weatherholt, the ghost of Jordan Walker, very much alive, but the ghost of the prospect he used to be. Pedro Pajes, Victor Scott II. And then this rotation, Matthew Liberatore, cast off Dustin May, Andre Payante, Michael McGreevy, and Kyle Leahy. You know, Randy's cousin. Like, I think that the White Sox are definitely better. The Angels could be better. And the Nationals, like, yeah, they're probably going to trade CJ Abrams. There's real bottom out potential there. But, you know, if you have 3 idiots fighting in a parking lot, the worst fight I've ever seen, one of them's got to come out on top, right? So at 28-1, we might as well take a shot. A price that's a little less fun and is not as exciting to talk about, but it's a price that's drifted. American League Rookie of the Year is now kind of muddled, let's say, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone so that I don't make my laptop that's like 15 years old explode, because trust me, guys, I had a book up, I had an odds board up, and I had the stream up, and I had one other, like, it was maybe Fangraphs or something, and my computer fan started making a noise that legitimately made me concerned for my safety. So I'm not going to put it through that again. So I'm just going to simply go over here, and I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to open awards, and I'm going to go scroll over to Rookie of the Year. So right now, Trey Savage is plus 370 favorite for American League Rookie of the Year, which I'm a Trey Savage guy. He was awesome at East Carolina. He was awesome in the minors for the Blue Jays. He was awesome in the postseason run for the Blue Jays. I love me some Trey Savage. I think he could win a Cy Young Award someday. But plus 370, American League Rookie of the Year favorite? I don't know. And then that's followed by Munetaka Murakami of the White Sox at 6-1, Carter Jensen at 6-1, who I do actually really like, Kazuma Akamoto for the Blue Jays, Tatsuya Imai for the Astros. And then, and this is where it catches my eye, Kevin McGonigal, Minerva's nephew, has drifted out to 9-1. And before, when we were waiting for all the Japanese phenoms to sign, McGonigal opened at like 4-1. He was right behind Savage. And he is awesome. Like, he's great for the Tigers. He's going to probably open as their opening day shortstop. And for a Tigers team that has a lot to play for and thinks they can win a World Series, especially if they're trying to capitalize on maybe probably the last year of Tariq Skubal, I think 9-1, if this drifts a little bit more, like if we get out to a 10-1 for McGonigal, that's going to be a bet for me. Because I never want a pitcher, and you have 2 pitchers right now in the top 6 for favorites. Carter Jensen, I do like him for the Royals, and he got some experience last year playing for them at the end of the year as well. But if I'm trying to beat just him, because I like Murakami and I like Akamoto, but they're both high ceiling, low floor guys, especially Murakami, if you believe the strikeout concerns with him. So that's something I really have my eye on, is Kevin McGonigal, shortstop for the Tigers, 9-1 for AL Rookie of the Year. Not a bet yet, unless you like 9-1, but I'm hovering because I think we can get a better number as spring training rolls on and gets going. I think we can maybe get 10-1. You could shop around too. The 10s might be out there already. I only looked one place because I saw it just before we started this stream, but that's something that I'm very, very interested in. All right. We've been going for 33 minutes. I'm spent. And I know we did an hour, almost 2 hours for the stream, but there was a game on for us to watch. And I've been up since 3 a.m. So we're going to end it here unless anybody has any last comments, bets that they want to shove into the chat at the wire here. Feel free. I'll filibuster for another minute as I tell everyone where you can find me and find us. You can find GameDay Garage on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, on YouTube, on Twitch. Just search GameDay Garage. You'll see the other awesome stuff that Ryan Horvath has done during football season. PJ Glasser, Nick Ashew, of course. Rob Brown will be around. I'll keep doing stuff. I think we're going to make this a weekly thing. You could also find more MLB thoughts and more in-depth and some written stuff from me on my Substack, hassanshacks.substack.com. If you get a warning, I promise it is not a breached site. I am working on getting that alert taken away because I don't know why it's there. You can find me on Twitter at the Jake Hasan. You can find me on Instagram at Hassan_Jake. Thank you to everyone who commented and was a part of the stream today. I know it's the middle of a day on a Thursday, and I know there really wasn't any warning, but listen, sometimes you just got to put the content out there. This will also be available to you in podcast form at some point. I will tweet that if you missed it. If you could only see part of the stream, it'll be there for you to go consume at a later date. It'll also live on YouTube, I think. I'm not an engineer. I just play one on TV. That's a joke for everybody's dad from like 20, 30 years ago. All right. We're going to call it there. Goodbye.